This is Amanda Snitker with Coldwell Banker Devonshire, and you're listening to The Real Estate Breakdown. Welcome everyone to episode 6 of the Real Estate Breakdown podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk all about staging a home to sell. My guest today is Roxann Lloyd, owner of Red Chair Designs, which is an interior design company based here in Denver, Colorado. Today, Roxann is here to give us the breakdown on home staging. Thanks for being here, Roxann.
Thanks, Amanda.
Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and the creation of Red Chair Designs?
Sure. So I got my degree in interior design from Kansas State University, and I moved out here and worked commercially in the interior design field for 4 years. And then I moved to Russia, where I continued being an interior designer over there, and then I came back. And in 2003, I started Red Chair Designs. I'd worked for another residential designer, and I felt like it was time for me to kind of strike out on my own and do it my own way, because I'm more of a collaborative designer than the kind of designer that just comes up with a whole scheme and just implements it for you. I wanted to be in partnership with the homeowner, because it's their home. It's not me. It should be a reflection of who they are. And people should walk into their home and have it feel like them and not me. As part of my business, I have 3 streams. I have my residential side. I have my commercial, where I do offices and retail spaces. And I do stagings. And so that's how I actually met you, is through my staging business.
As you just mentioned, a part of my listing service is to pay for the consultation with a stager for the seller to help them get their home ready to sell. And I am a firm believer that staging a home makes your home sell faster and for more money. But Roxann, I would love for you to walk us through the whys and some of the psychology behind staging. But just to make sure that we're all starting in the same place, can you give us a high-level definition of what staging in this context means?
Sure. Most of what I do is what I call a walkthrough staging consultation. So it is for a homeowner that is still living in the house and they still have a lot of their belongings there. There's also the vacant property staging, where the property is vacant and I bring in furniture and decorations just to give the potential buyers the idea of how they could live.
So with this seller consultation, can you kind of walk us through what that looks like for the seller and what experience they will have with that?
Sure. The way my company does it, we come with a clipboard and we take all the notes, because this is really pretty overwhelming for the homeowner as they're getting ready to sell, because they've already opened up all their finances. They're trying to figure out where they're moving. They've got all these deadlines. They've carried around this huge list in their own head of all the things that they know to do. And then they have the stranger coming to the door to theoretically judge them. And so I immediately tell them, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to help you have a better understanding, get this out of your head, put it on a sheet of paper. That way you've got a checkbox to, when you do something, you can mark it off. So we start outside, because that's the first impression that they have as they pull up in front. That's curb appeal. And if they can't get past the curb appeal, they're not going to go into the house. So talk about all the things to do: cobwebs, wash windows, don't park in front of the house, all those sorts of things. Then we step in, and I always enter through the front door, because that's where the potential buyers will. And so many times homeowners are like, I never come in the front door. Well, of course not. You're going through the garage, right? You've got your own pattern of doing things. So this takes them through just like the potential buyers will. And we just go room to room, and I'm talking about all the things to take out, because what you're selling is not only the property and the location and all the things people think about, the school district, all that stuff. It's really the fact that this is the place that's going to let them have the lifestyle that they want. They're going to be able to put all of their stuff away. They're not going to trip on the Legos, and I don't have to see your shoes anymore. And there's finally a place to put that. And I've got a waffle maker that can go in a cabinet instead of sit on the counter. Those kinds of things. And so the more you can do to open up space in cabinets and closets and in the rooms themselves, the better, because people are probably coming from a place that's too small for them, and they are looking for a place that has plenty of room. And so we're selling the dream and the illusion that this is the house that's going to take care of them and that they'll be able to live that life. So once we've gone through the entire house, I leave them with a quick sheet of maybe some specific things to do and a broad strokes of, thin out your cabinets and closets, or maybe make sure that you paint a certain wall, or repair this or that. Then I also leave them with some moving tips and another handout that has a lot of what we just talked about, because it's overwhelming. You've got a lot going on in your head. So now you can, after I'm gone, you can sit down and read that whole list that I leave. And then in a couple of days, one of us will email you the whole list. And so you can print it off. You can add to it if you've thought of some other things that you wanted to put on there. And then as you're going through, you can just check them off. And depending on how much time they have and how many big projects, or maybe it's just really packing and getting yourself out, it hopefully gives them a little bit of peace of mind, because now they see it on a list and it's not just floating throughout their whole head.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so important. So people can get so overwhelmed with that. Even just living in your own home, not trying to sell it, sometimes walking around is overwhelming. So when you think about needing to prepare that for someone else to find the space appealing, it is exhausting.
I used to, when the first year that I was doing this, even 2 years that I was doing just the staging, I would go home after somebody's house and I would look around my own and be like, oh my goodness, I need to get rid of so much. And I was like, no, silly, you're not selling your house, you're living here. So selling is completely different than living. My job as an interior designer, I come in, I get to know the people. Who are you? How do you want the home to feel? What do you want to say about you? The exact opposite as my stager role. My stager role, I don't want to think about you. I want you to be invisible. I want somebody to walk in and picture themselves. So what do we need to remove so that people can picture themselves living there? Do we need to take that chair out because it really cramps the passageway? Do we need to take down the family photos and anything with your name on it? And that painting that your aunt made for you that's got some weird character on it that's going to freak somebody out, that's got to come down.
So in helping a seller understand how this benefits them, because it does take some effort and it does take some time, and it might be emotional if you have to get rid of a lot of things or pack things up and try to decide, do I want to get rid of this now, or do I want to move this to my new home? And, there's all of those decisions that have to be made that are small but can be exhausting. How can we help a seller understand how this all works to their benefit in a big impact?
Yeah, it helps them. I tell people the harder they can be on themselves in living while they're on the market, which means less of your stuff and making sure everything's put away and the kids are, you're staying on top of the kids and making sure that it looks neat in their rooms and I don't see signs of people throughout the house. The more money you're going to get, the less time you'll be on the market, and you're going to get more money at the closing table. From the National Realtor Association website, 75% of buyers agents will tell you that their clients offer more money at the closing table for houses that have been staged. And as I'm going through and talking to people, there's oftentimes the people have already been out looking at other houses, and as I'm talking to them, I'll say, what have you seen? And they'll say, yes, we went to somebody's house last night and we saw it and it was dirty or it was cluttered and I couldn't see past all of their stuff. They had way too much out, and it kept them from being able to picture themselves living there, which means no one else is going to be able to picture themselves living there. And so that house is going to stay on the market longer.
I think it's important for sellers to understand that, like you said, it really isn't about them and making sure that this house is fitting their needs, because they've already decided they're selling. And so they need to kind of step into that buyer role of, if I were looking at this house, how would I feel walking into this space? And so being able to see it from the buyer sides really benefits the buyer. And that's how that transitions into more money in the end and less time on the market.
Right. I have run into several people who are hung up because they don't like the color that I suggest that they paint to just neutral. And they're like, well, we were going to paint it blue because we love blue, and it's got nothing to do with what you like anymore. This is a commodity. It is no longer your home. Your home is within yourself and within your family. That's moving to the next property, to the next house. That is your home. It is not the physical location anymore. So if you can think about it, detach emotionally from it, and start to picture it as it's a moneymaker for you, then the more people that you can broadly appeal to and the less design specific you are, the better off you're going to be, the more money you're going to sell it for, and the less time it's going to be on the market.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about staging if it's currently occupied by the sellers. Will you walk us through how that looks if the property is vacant and how to stage it to, again, get the most appeal.
Sure. So vacant properties, you don't have to stage every single room. It's really, you want to stage what I call the first impression room, where when you walk in the door, what are you seeing first? Typically it's a living room. Sometimes it's been a dining room / kitchen. And then you want to make sure that you get the master bedroom as well. So kind of, if you're in a 2-story, usually it's, you want to stage the first floor for sure, and then one of the bedrooms and bathrooms upstairs. And that's just light staging. It's putting in the large pieces of furniture. So in a bedroom, it would just be the master, the king or queen size bed, 2 nightstands, potentially a dresser if there's room, and then just hanging towels and some things in the bathroom to help soften the look. A little bit of decor, maybe a mirror, some very generic, just one large print generic up there. And then in the family room, really just a sofa and maybe 1 chair, maybe 2, depending on the size of it, a couple end tables, a lamp, again, a little bit of decor, just a picture, maybe a candle and a vase and some books and that sort of thing. But just enough to help soften it, but not so much that it looks like somebody's still living there or that it's too particular in design.
And how does that process work if the seller needs to rent any of these furniture pieces and accessories?
So that's one of the things that we do as well. And basically it would be, what is your budget? And then I would go over and measure things and kind of decide what color scheme is going to work. And then we're able to go rent furniture from a warehouse that has high quality pieces that come in various styles. Most of it looks like kind of a crate and barrel Pottery Barn kind of look. So it's clean lined. It's just broadly appealing. Again, we're just kind of going for a broadly appealing. And then we just take care of it. So we make sure that we go over and we pick it. We are there to install it when it's delivered, and then it's on the market for as long as it needs to be, and then go over and remove it from the house. And really the homeowner, other than writing a check, isn't involved.
So we talked about this a little bit back in episode 5 when we went over the seller process, but not every seller is in a position to spend a lot of time or a lot of money to prepare a property to sell. And so, for someone to be able to think about what their personal situation is on timing and budget, what would you say would be the most impactful things a seller could do to get their home ready on the smaller budget side?
Mm-hmm. So I would say the free thing is pack. You're going to be packing anyway. I tell people, if you could have half your house packed up by the time you go on the market, then you can kind of catch your breath while you're on the market. And then when you get a contract, you can start packing up the rest. And I know, again, from the National Realtor Association website, they say that 93% of their agents say that decluttering is their big one. And declutter means pack your stuff up. That doesn't mean that you've got, I just need to pick up and clean up because the kids were in here. That means, no, you've got to get half that room out. You just want it to be basically the large item pieces of furniture and a couple of decor items. So that's really about it.
Yeah.
Then
I was just gonna stop you. I know you have a rule for the kitchen counter.
Oh yeah. I only want 4 things, depending on how big the kitchen is. But most kitchens, unless you've got a tiny one and I want you to have 1, but really I only want you to have 4 things.
Okay.
Yeah. And especially before photos, because those show up in photos. You're standing in the kitchen, you're like, yeah, this looks really great. And then you look at a photo of that same kitchen and it's got a few things on the counter. You're like, oh my goodness, it just blows up and it just looks like clutter, and it's not, but that's how it appears. So yeah, very little on there.
Okay.
I would say the next important thing for you to do is just a deep clean, because it's that daily wear and tear that people walk in and ultimately they want to just walk in and have it be move-in ready. They want the colors to be neutral. They want the carpets to be clean, everything be cleaned. And if there's just the daily wear and tear, you've been in a house for 10, 15 years and you haven't painted in 8, and there's handprints and where you grab around the doorknobs and you grab to turn on the light switch, the oils from our hands attracts dirt. And so I would just do a thorough deep cleaning. And that is, to me, that's where you spend money. You hire somebody to do it. You focus on the packing, get yourself out of there, have somebody else do the deep clean, because you don't have to tell people how to do that. If you're packing, you kind of have to tell people what you want. But for cleaning, anybody can do that.
Yeah, and I think that cleaning is really important, because the psychology of a buyer who walks into your home, the thought process that always runs through my head when I walk into a home that is picked up and looks nice, but you can tell has not had a deep clean in a long time. I'm thinking if these sellers were not able to put in the time for a deep clean, what else in this home has not been maintained?
Right, totally. Well, and it's little things like going into the bathroom, and yes, you've got the toilet brush right there, but then there's also a plunger next to the toilet. I have people always remove that and they're like, well, that's where it goes. Yeah, 9 times out of 10, I go into a house, people keep their toilet plunger right by the toilet. But what that signals to a potential buyer is, oh, they've got toilet issues. And that might not be the case. It's just where they happen to keep it. Or if they have a shelving unit above the toilet, well, that says to me that they don't have enough storage in there. They had to add that in. Well, that's maybe because they've got a kid that has a ton of bath toys, and it's me and my husband, and that's all, you know. So it's really about not having obvious signs that there might be issues within the house. And in addition to the deep cleaning that you talked about, carpets. People don't always think about that. That really needs to get cleaned too. And not even just the stains that maybe pets or wine or kids or whatever cause, but just in general, it just helps, again, fresh coat of paint, cleaning all your baseboards, and cleaning your carpets. And whether that's professional or you go to this grocery store and rent something, at least it's giving a complete, it changes the smell a little bit. It helps clean everything up just a little bit. And then I would say one last kind of thing to talk about, especially here in Colorado, are pets. Pretty much everybody's got a dog or a cat or both. And I always suggest that you get them out for showings when you're on the market. In this market, you're not going to be on for months anymore like we were in 2010. You're going to be on for a matter of days or a couple of weeks or something. And I just think it's so hard on the animal to have strangers coming in and out of the house. And not to mention, what if people are allergic to cats and dogs? I'm allergic to cats, and luckily it's not to the point that I can't be in a room with one. But if I'm in there for a while, if I have a 2-hour staging with somebody by the end and they have a cat, I'm a little plugged up and I'm having a little hard time breathing. So if you can get the cat or the dog out, I think it'll benefit you at the closing table and for your animal too. Then you won't have the neurotic cat making a mess outside the litter box because they were mad that somebody was in the house that they didn't know.
Yeah. And I always think that one of two things happens when I'm showing a house that has a dog at the property. One is that people might be terrified of dogs from some previous experience that they had, or the dog sounds really big and they don't want to come through the front door because we don't really know what we're going to be facing or how agitated the dog may be. They might be super friendly normally, but in a circumstance where you have strangers coming in when the homeowners aren't home, their personality is tested.
Yes, right.
And so that can happen. Or the other thing is that people love dogs and they spend the entire time that they're in your house petting the dog and thinking how cute it is and hoping that it comes with the house.
And then they don't remember the house.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Or the dog may be feeling agitated. So for instance, I was at a property the other day and the homeowners were giving me a tour. And in the meantime that I had walked through the living room and into the bedroom and we came back out, the dog had eaten my shoes.
And the homeowner was there too.
Yes,
Imagine
the homeowner
if they
was
hadn't
there.
been
I know. They felt so bad and the dog was cute, but he totally ate my shoes. All right, Roxann, this has been super fun and incredibly helpful.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up here, is there anything that we didn't touch on that you think is important for sellers to know?
Yes, it involves protecting yourselves. So I always tell people to watch for identity theft and watch your valuables, whether they're sentimental valuables or they're actually financial valuables. You don't want somebody to break it or to take it. If it's something your kids made for you or your grandma made, just get it out. If it's worth some money and it's an easy kind of, I can slip it into my pocket or into a large purse or under my arm in a jacket, just go ahead and get it on out. I always make sure that anything with your social security number, account number, signature, even address, and I know that's silly, but because they're in your house and they know your address, but usually if it's got your address, it's got all kinds of other information. Lock it up, get it out of there. Your social security cards. I always check junk drawers in kitchens because here's what I have found in junk drawers: cash, birth certificates, passports, visas. And I don't mean the Visa MasterCard. Yes, I do mean that, but also visas to get in and out of the country. Keys, garage door openers, jewelry. I find jewelry in those places, gift cards. Think about, stand in every room, and just because you've put something away doesn't mean that people aren't now going to discover it, because they will for a fact. Open your closets and open your cabinets. They want to see if you have rollout trays. They want to see how much room you have. Make sure that things are organized and that things that are of value and importance are locked up. They should not be going into your personal furniture like your dresser or a secretary or a desk, but that doesn't mean that they won't. If it's got a lock on it, lock it up. If it's important and someone could use it against you, get it out of the house.
Thank you so much for talking with us today. And if our listeners have any questions for you, what is the best way for them to reach you?
People can email me at roxann at Red Chair Designs. That's Roxann, ROXANN. There is no E. At Red Chair Designs with an S on the end.com. Or they can call me at 720-320-4029.
Great. Thanks for listening to this podcast today, and I hope you found the information to be valuable. If you did, please pass it on to someone you know. If you have any questions or comments about this podcast, you're welcome to email me at amanda@amandasnitker.com. And remember to subscribe, rate, and review.